Hello and welcome back to BEBB and welcome to another Let's Get Deeper episode. So starting a business might not be easy for everyone. Well, unless you're a certain somebody who ended up president, whose dad ended up giving him a loan of about £14 million and starting up his business. But if you're like me or like yourself, it might be a little bit more difficult. But on the sofa today, I have an amazing guest who I actually met through TEDx Talk. Honestly, great things came out of that place. And he's a young man who started up his business at the age of 16 years old. And at 21, they're now helping tens and thousands of young people to develop their skills and to become better leaders for the future. The one and only Hayden Taylor.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
No, thank you so much.
This is well exciting.
No, I'm really, really happy to have you. Because number one, you're a genius. Number two, you're doing amazing things. So I'm really, really proud of everything that you're doing. And I'm excited for you to kind of tell everyone about how it's going. But how are you? You said that you traveled down from Portsmouth, right?
Yes, down from the sunny seaside town up to big London. This is huge for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's just it's miles away from Portsmouth. It's quite a small town, and London is the capital. It's bustling all the time. It's a completely different atmosphere, but I love it. So I love being here, and I'm excited to chat to you.
Yeah.
Not quite sure I'm a genius, but thank you anyway for the
definitely.
compliment.
I think, do you know what? Just in terms of, I would mostly say I admire you because you were so young, 16 years old. You decided that you were going to start up something which is incredible, and you just decided to kind of run with it. So let's get straight into it. How did the idea start? Just in case people don't really know, Hayden runs a social enterprise or business, whichever one you want to call it, called Unloc, which, like I said in the beginning, is all about helping young people to become leaders, to help develop their skills so that they can go out into the world and literally just do all the incredible things that they want to do. Where did this all start?
Okay, so it's been a really interesting 6 or 7 years. It's been a roller coaster journey from the point that we started Unloc to where we are now. So for me, when we started the business, it wasn't through some sort of creative idea. It wasn't through some product that we developed. It was through sheer necessity. When I was 14, I was your average kid. I just tried to get through school. I was a glider. I tried to come up with a different excuse every single week as to why I didn't have any homework. Okay. I tried the "my dog ate my homework" type excuse a few times. I did try it. Really? I did, but unfortunately, my teachers were aware that I'm actually allergic to all animal fur. So clearly a lie. Okay. And I only never had a dog in my life. So I was a bit of a glider through school. Right. I just tried to get through, get my GCSEs, but actually things started to change when I was about 13, 14. Okay. Kind of a shift in mindset. I just wanted to do more. So I started getting involved with my school council at the time, which it wasn't particularly difficult. I'm pretty sure I was the only kid in the class that put their hands up when they said, "Who wants to be the school council rep?" Right. But I was really up for it. I went for it. And a year later, my deputy head at my school said, "There's this group, it's called the Council of Portsmouth Students, and it's this group basically that looks at education policy across the whole city. So instead of just head teachers saying, this is what education in the future should look like, we have young people in the system actually talking about what they want for the future." Right. It was incredible. Yeah. So I joined this group. It literally changed my life. It was such an inspiring process. And after being in that group for a year, I woke up to an email one day that said, "Dear Hayden, I'm really sorry. We haven't got any more money. We're going to cut the funding." So literally the next day, it felt like everything had just disappeared. It kind of just crumbled in the matter of hours. So that kind of program that changed my life was no longer there anymore. It was a really, really difficult time for me. I remember my head of year 10 at the time pulling me aside and saying, "Hayden, what's the problem? I can tell you're not normal. There's something not right here."
Yeah, there was something. They could tell something.
Yeah, and I think for the first time ever, because it felt like social suicide at the time, I just burst into tears in front of my teacher and loads of other people. And he asked me why I was upset, and for me, it was all about the fact that I knew other young people weren't going to get that same opportunity that I had. Right. And that's just heartbreaking. Like that whole program, that whole process of giving me the responsibility of being a part of changing what education is for the future was incredible, and then suddenly it's not there anymore. So that's how we started Unloc. We started Unloc to keep this program going, basically.
Oh, wow.
That's how we started the program. So I was 14 at the time, and we ran it for 2 years as a community project. So we just got a community bank account, a bit like a sports club does.
Right.
And we asked all of the schools, would you give us a little bit of money each to keep this program running?
Right.
And then when I turned 16, I was legally old enough to start my own company. So I very quickly get onto the phone with an accountant and say, please, can I start a company?
Wait. Okay, wait. Hold up. We need to take it a step back.
Okay.
Where did that even come? How did that even come to mind at the age of 16 to think, do you know what? I'm going to call up an accountant. And I'm going to figure out how to start my own business. How did that even happen? That transition?
Well, it was through running this community project that I knew we needed a way to make it more sustainable. And I knew that the premise of this project, which was about helping young people to become leaders, to become entrepreneurial thinkers, was so important. And I wanted to make a bigger impact rather than just a small project in Portsmouth. I wanted to take this across the country. So that's where Unloc was born. It was out of that project and identifying what we really wanted to achieve, which was to help thousands of kids become entrepreneurs and creative leaders that change their communities and change the world. In the same way that I felt that's what I was doing when I was 14. So that's kind of how it started, and that was the real motivation. And I think to this day, my entire team, we're a team of 8 people now based in our central office.
Yeah.
I think we're all motivated by the same thing, and that is we want to help kids develop their skills, and we want to help them to go out there and make a difference. I know that the world now is a very unstable place.
Definitely, yeah.
We have so many problems that we're going to have to tackle, and the next generation are going to have even more problems to deal with. Well,
hopefully, we can like get in there before any. Hopefully we can change things, and then it gets better, not worse.
And that's the idea. But the picture at the moment isn't particularly positive, and world leaders like Donald Trump aren't particularly helping right now. So we're hoping that with Unloc and all of the stuff that we're doing to help kids become better community leaders, to become more entrepreneurial thinkers, they can then go out there and shape the world that we all want to see.
Right. So can you break down, just in case, again, that people don't know exactly what you do, but can you break down exactly what it is that you do for young people? So
Sure.
do you go into schools? Do you do mentoring? What kind of stuff do you do?
Sure. So we currently work with over 100 schools, and we're operating across the country now, which is great. We've got an office in Portsmouth and an office in Cambridge. And there's 2 main things that we do. First of all, we run leadership programs where we bring kids together from all different communities, all different backgrounds, and we bring them together to talk about the world that they want to build, basically. Along with that, we provide them with a whole range of leadership masterclasses, mentoring, support, everything they need to get projects off the ground that improves their community and their own schools. So that's the leadership program part, and we call that the Unloc Leadership Academy and the Unloc Student Voice Academy. And then we have our entrepreneurial work. And that's called the Unloc Enterprise Academy, sorry, shouldn't get my words mixed up. And the Unloc Enterprise Academy is basically a 12-week program, and we take kids from the point at which they have an idea for a business, even if it's something they don't actually want to get off the ground, but they just want to test it. So they start with an idea, and by the end of the 12-week program, they will have built their own business plan, they will have built their own industry standard pitch, they would have learned how to market their product, how to brand it, they would have learned how to network, all of the skills you need to be an incredible entrepreneur, but also skills that you need in life more generally.
I was even thinking that as you kind of said that, just in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sure they're all transferable skills, so you can use the knowledge that you gain from building your own business plan or whatever for your CV or your portfolio, etc. So it's an incredible thing, incredible thing to do. How have you found that people have reacted from it on both ends? So let's say the students that you actually work with, and the people who have gone through your programs and gone through the different things that you do, but also people, let's say teachers or members of staff at schools. How have you seen they've felt about Unloc?
Yeah. Generally, overall, it's been really, really positive, and I think we're creating a movement that has real momentum. People are getting behind it, they're being part of the Unloc movement, and they really understand what we're trying to achieve, which is about, you know, empowering these young leaders and entrepreneurs. Generally speaking, people have been really positive, but you always get a few, particularly head teachers, I found have been a little bit more tricky.
Why do you say that?
Well, there are lots of old-fashioned head teachers out there. So there's still work to be done to change mindsets, to help head teachers see value in things like entrepreneurial education, to get them to see past the English and maths. That's still difficult. And it's also difficult trying to sell a product like ours when you've got a baby face like I do.
I remember you said this the first time at TEDx as well, and you were like, yeah, I know, I look about, how old do you say, 16?
Yeah. Well, I was genuinely ID'd for paracetamol a few months back. Genuinely shocking. But,
and how old do you have to be to buy paracetamol?
14.
14. So they thought that you were 14 or younger.
Yeah.
That's, in a way, I think I did say this at the time that we met. It's amazing because it means that when you're like 50, you're going to look really young.
Yeah.
You're going to age so well.
Yeah, I'm going to have the Madonna effect.
Basically.
Still going to look good.
I don't know too much about Madonna these days. No offense to Madonna, but no, you're going to age really, really well, so it's fine. One of the other things that I really wanted to ask you as well was just about the journey, because obviously we've kind of broken down a little bit about what you do now, but what would you say the journey has been like, and what would you say you've learned from this 14-year-old who, you know, kind of, you know, jumped on this whole business and entrepreneurship stuff, 16 actually launching and kicking things off, and then till now, because I'm sure that there's been a lot of things that you've learned in between. How has that journey been for you?
It has been, as I said earlier, it's like a roller coaster. There's so many highs, so many incredible highs, and you also have days where, you know, things don't go to plan. I think if you speak to any startup founder, they'll tell you that people assume success is like a straight line. Right. You start here and success is there. And actually, for a business, success looks much more like this. It is all over the place.
I love how you even came back.
Yeah. You feel like, you know, it's never simple. There's always some sort of barrier you've got to overcome. So I think kind of my main advice would be, having been part of that journey, is find someone that you can really share things with. When you're having a really bad day, that you're able to speak openly and honestly with, and say, you know what, today has been a really crap day. I just need to tell you why things aren't going to plan.
Who was your person?
And for me, that was my co-director, Ben. You know, he's one of my best friends. You know, I'll take a bullet for this guy. And we started the business together. Yeah, I know, heartfelt moment.
Oh, so heartfelt. I'll take a bullet for this guy. Like, I would jump in front of a bullet for this guy. That's amazing, though.
Yeah, and you just need somebody there, either professionally within your business or a friend that you're able to speak openly and honestly with. And that can be there with you on that roller coaster ride. That is really, really important. And also just a general sense of determination. If there's anyone watching this and is thinking, you know, I want to start my own business, and they've seen Dragon's Den on TV, my message would be to them, it's not like that on TV. It really is much more difficult, and there is an awful lot of blood, sweat and tears. So if you've got an idea that you're super passionate about, go for it, absolutely go for it, but just remember it's going to be an awful lot of hard work.
Right. So what would you say then were some of the mistakes that you made? Because I feel like, especially for people who want to start up businesses, it's always good when you hear people's mistakes or the things that they kind of did wrong, so that you can try and avoid it and you can learn from that. What would be some of the mistakes that you feel like you've made on this journey? Maybe you've made none, hey, but you know, if there's any, what would you say? I've
definitely made some mistakes. One I think is being afraid to admit that I didn't know things.
That's a good one.
Just pretending that you knew the answer. What I have learned is that you need to ask for advice. Nobody has all of the answers, and when you're starting up a business, you have to be everything. You have to be an accountant, you have to be a salesman, you have to be everything. Yeah, absolutely everything. So don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what I've learned. And there have been plenty of instances where I've tried to fudge my way out of a conversation and pretending that I'm knowing exactly what they're talking about, when in reality, I have no idea what they're saying. So I've learned to be much more open, transparent, and be upfront with people about what is actually within my skill set and what isn't. That I'd say has been a big mistake that I've learned from. And a more practical one in terms of finance.
Right.
I am shocking at managing day-to-day spending.
Really?
So receipts, like just keeping receipts, finding a way where you can keep that process really simple and easy to track your money, so that when it comes to the end of the year and you've got to tell the government, HMRC,
collect the taxes.
Yeah, the tax man.
The tax man. Yeah.
You've got a way to do that. So, and I have had a couple of fines along the way for not being, for not having things exactly in order. But I've learned from that. And if anyone's watching this and is thinking, oh my gosh, I really don't want to have to deal with all that hassle, look for a local accountant. I managed to find someone that did all of our accounts for the first 3 years for free.
Oh, amazing.
Just ask for that help.
Wait, how? Why?
They just believed in what we were doing, really, and were really keen to support.
That's amazing.
And I think generally people appreciate, when you're bold enough to go out there and say, look, I'm really struggling, I'm trying to get my business off the ground, will you give me a hand? Most people out there are willing to give you a bit of time and support.
To be honest, I can actually relate to that, because I feel like with a lot of projects that I've had in the past, I've wanted to do it on my own.
Yeah.
This is my baby, it's my project. I'm gonna get things done. It's gonna be the way that I want. And oftentimes what happens, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out because you realize you can't. While you said you have to do a little bit of everything, you can't physically do everything.
Yeah.
So you have to bring people on that can support you and that can help you.
Yeah, there's a really lovely proverb that just summarizes that, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone.
If you want to go far,
go together. Yeah, that's the one.
I know,
Absolutely.
I've heard of that. No, and I think it's definitely true. Just seeking help and not being afraid, or like letting your pride, make you feel like, oh, I can't ask anyone for help because I have to have it all together.
Yeah.
I think it's really detrimental to your business. So it's important.
Yeah,
it's really important.
Absolutely. And my message to everyone is that if you've got an idea, go out there and make it happen. There's absolutely no reason why anybody couldn't run their own business. I did it. I'm just an average school kid from Portsmouth. From a working class family. My dad's a builder, my mum works in a school cafe. I've not got any particularly exciting credentials to say that I can run a business. I just had an idea and an awful lot of energy and determination to make it happen. So if you're watching this and you've got a business idea, my message is get out there, do it, and just acknowledge that it's going to be hard work, and that there are people out there ready to support and help if you just ask for it.
Yeah, and this is what you do full time now, don't you?
Yes, yeah.
So full time.
Yeah, this is my full-time thing.
Wow.
I'm all over the place. I feel like I spend my life on trains and planes.
You were saying that before, yeah. Which is amazing, because you were like, well, I came from Portsmouth today, then I'm going, where are you going, Brussels?
Cambridge. Then Brussels.
Then Brussels.
Then back to Cambridge. Then down to Portsmouth,
You're living a great life. You're living the life of a celebrity, really and truly, traveling everywhere and helping loads of different types of people. But I think a lot of people get really scared when it comes to entrepreneurship, especially young people. You might have a great idea, but a lot of people like stability.
Yeah.
They like having that kind of like 9 to 5, or that, not necessarily like it, but this is what's making me money. I have responsibilities. Maybe some people will look after their family or whatever. With yourself, did you ever work? Did you ever have something separate from that? And if so, how did you make that jump, knowing that it was the right time to go full time? Yeah,
so I always had a part-time job, and I'd done a number of different part-time jobs. But I used my time in college, my education time, as my running time. So we started the business when I was 16, and I had 2 years. That was my idea. From the point that I was 16, I had 2 years to the point that I was leaving college to get my business up to the point where I had enough money to keep me going.
Right.
So use the time that you're in education and you've got that bit of spare time, spare capacity to develop your ideas, test them out. It's a great period of time to use for that kind of thing. So I had that 2 year period to build up enough cash within the business, create enough work to get enough clients on board, so that when I left, the job was basically created for me.
That's amazing. So when did you know it's time to jump? I can officially leave all my part-time jobs and I can go literally everything into this?
It was probably about halfway through my second year of college. People were starting to work out exactly what they were going to do. Are they going to go to university? Are they going to do an apprenticeship? Are they going to do a job? And I think I kind of knew at that point, watching people kind of make decisions because they felt like they were being forced to do so. You know, lots of my friends went to university when really they weren't really bothered about going to university.
Yeah.
They just felt like they had to because somebody had painted that journey for them. I guess kind of watching that process, it helped me realise that what I'd been doing was really it felt like my calling. It felt like what I really wanted to do. It's more than just a job for me. This genuinely is something that gets me out of bed in the morning. It's something I'm super passionate about.
And you always hear that. It sounds really cliche and it sounds really stereotypical, but that whole find something that makes you, want to get out of bed in the morning, that gets you out of bed in the morning. And you found that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it might not be one thing. You might have several things that help you get out of bed in the morning. You might have several passions.
Right.
But if you find something that that motivates you, then I would totally try and make that a reality. Turn your passion into a profession. That's nice little cliche term there.
Nice little.
Just slide that one in.
Turn your passion into your profession.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really, really like that. Really like that. Now, talking of finances and the economics aspect of it, that's what a lot of people want to achieve. Though you might have something that you're really passionate about, like yourself, everyone wants to be able to make money, as we've said, from it. How were you able to build up, a network or being able to get enough clients so you actually had sustainable income coming in? How did you even start making money basically for your business? Because I'm so sure there's going to be loads of people that are watching and this is the bit. I need this. They're pausing probably to go and get a notepad and pen to come back and then figure out. So you need to give us some keys, some help.
Okay, networking is huge. Finding people that are influencers in your sector, in your market, that really get what you are trying to offer. So for us, we found a couple of key principles and a few key business people that worked in our sector, and we set up one-to-one meetings with them, and we just put all of our energy into making sure they believed in our product. And they then just did all the selling for us. They went out and they spoke to principals. They told them about the work of Unloc. They went out to other businesses and said, hey, this guy's doing some incredible stuff. So networking is absolutely huge, and find those key influencers in your space that can help you achieve what you want to achieve in terms of bringing in money. Another thing I would say is just working all hours. It really is difficult in that first year or so of starting up, trying to bring cash in. So I just had to work super, super hard. Every hour that I could squeeze into a day, I would do. And I was never afraid of of just asking people if I could have a meeting and just have a chat. Just sending them a message on LinkedIn, on Facebook or Twitter, any way that I could reach out to them. I'm a prolific tweeter. I tweet everybody, even the most famous of people. I'll just send them a tweet and say, can we meet for a coffee? I'd love to chat about what I'm doing. So yes, find those influencers. They'll really help you. Networking is absolutely crucial.
Okay.
Work as many hours as you possibly can. Work hard. Right. There's no way of getting away from that. And then I can't remember what my third tip was now.
No.
But they're probably
making money.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring money into the business. If you could look back at yourself even, what would you say? What would you have even said to yourself actually? If you could look back and say, okay, do this and this is going to help you out. What would you say? So you said networking, you said, working really, really hard. Is there anything else?
I think it is that final thing around asking for help. I talked about just sending people Twitter messages, LinkedIn messages, Instagram messages. Find ways to tap into people that have the connections you need, but also have the advice and the support. I have a brilliant supportive network of people around me, professionals, mentors, and so on, that I've brought on this journey with me. And that's because I've just not been afraid to ask. I've just said, I don't know how to manage an accounts process. I don't know how to build a brand. I need your help to make this happen. And I've brought them on that journey with me.
And you know what? That's so admirable, the fact that you're so fearless. And I think that's really important. That's what a lot of people lack, because they have these great ideas, but they get scared. They're scared to ask for help. They're scared to take a risk. They're scared to try something new. There are so many things to be afraid of, and sometimes it's not even yourself. It might be the environment you're in. There's not a lot of people that will encourage you or support you, but it's amazing that you have a good network of people as well, which I think surround yourself. They always say, your network is your net worth, right? So surrounding yourself with the right types of people to help you along the journey.
So. I think there's more that needs to be done in this country, though. I think the government should be doing more to help people make that jump.
Right.
It is a scary move to start your own business, particularly as a young person. You're trying to get to university or whatever, trying to pin down a part-time job, and now you're trying to start this business as well alongside, when there's a much safer route, which is go to school, go to college, go to university. So making that jump away from going down the traditional academic route is certainly really difficult. So I think the government needs to look at some grant-based schemes or some loan-based schemes where we can provide our young people with a year's worth of funding to get them off the ground, to give them a chance to really make these ideas happen. There's plenty of enterprise competitions out there for young people.
Yeah, and you, talking of enterprise competition, you ran one as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we're running one at the moment, actually,
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing it on your Twitter. So you see, I do my research. I like to, stalk and figure out and see what you guys are doing. So tell us a little bit about what you guys have on offer right now.
So we realised that there was a whole huge pool of people that had seen what Unloc was doing but couldn't tap into our support services because we weren't at their school, we weren't at their college or their university yet. So we've started something in partnership with Verizon. They're a huge company. They're the world's biggest telecoms company based in the United States. We're really great to have their support.
How did how? Is it just
It's networking. Networking, yeah. I met the chief executive of O2, the phone company.
Right.
He totally got what we were all about. So I invited him to speak at one of our events. He came along. And I've kept this relationship with him for a long time. And then 2 years ago, he was given the top job at Verizon as the global president for the telecoms network. And I sent him a message on LinkedIn and said, hey, can we meet up? I've got a great idea about running an online enterprise competition to help more young people get the cash they need to run their own business.
Right.
And he was totally on board with it. It's back to that networking thing. You never know where a connection might end up. So we're running this competition.
Right.
Winner gets 5,000. That's all right.
Yeah.
Winner gets £5,000 cash. They get a whole bundle of technology, cash, hard cash, technology, and they get a mentorship package as well. So we will find someone that can help them in their sector to mentor them to get their idea off the ground.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to apply,
yes.
you've only got to record a 60-second video on the website, unlocenterprisechallenge.com.
How long is it open for, the challenge?
So we've got about 2.5 weeks-ish left, so might just miss it by the time this goes online.
By the time this comes out, we will try. We're going to try our best, but if not, we'll obviously have all the information, all the details, so that people can stay, in touch with everything that you're doing.
Sure.
And if there are future opportunities like that, then they'll be able to do that. But what would you then say? I know we've got to quickly wrap up anyway, but what would you then say? What do you have in mind for Unloc now? Because you're working with over 10,000 young people at the moment. You want, I know you, so you want those numbers to keep pushing.
Yeah.
But what do you see from Unloc in the next few years, let's say?
I want us to become a transformative force in how we view young people's social action and how we view the education we provide for young people. So I want Unloc to become the leaders in this field. I want them to start shaping policy for government. I want Unloc to become a flagship for how we can do education differently. A new generation of education that really values soft skills, that really values entrepreneurial thinking, that really values leadership. So I want us to become that flagship, to change the way that we do things, to be the go-to for government when they're looking at how they implement new creative ways of doing things. That's the vision. Try and change the culture of how we do things in education across the UK.
I love that. I love that. And
it's ambitious, it's going to be difficult.
Listen, it's ambitious, it's difficult, but there's no reason why it can't happen. You've come this far, there's no reason why it can't happen. And yourself and your team of 8?
8, yeah. 8 at the moment,
8 of you at the moment. I wish you nothing but the best. I know that you guys are doing an amazing thing at the moment. You're really raising up leaders and people that will come after you, that will start businesses to tackle so many different issues. So you're doing an incredible thing. And that's what I said.
Thank you.
That's what I said you're a
And
genius.
as are you, you're doing some incredible things as well and helping amplify our message as well.
I'm trying. But thank you so much for joining us today. You've been incredible. You've been such a great guest, for sharing all of your knowledge and for sharing some tips as well.
A few
on
little
how
tricky tips in there.
we can also run our own successful businesses.
Yeah.
We weren't, like Donald Trump, who got his 14 million. We have to start on our own. But yeah, no, thank you so much. Honestly, you've been amazing. So thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. So of course you heard it here first. The one and only Hayden Taylor, who runs Unloc Enterprise, is an incredible organization. All the information about their organization, their social media, etc., will be in the description box below. So please make sure you check it out. Follow all the great stuff that they're doing. And of course, as you heard, go out and do it. It will be hard work, it will be tough, but utilize those networks, connect with the right people, ask for help, make it happen. You've been watching BEBB, and I'll see you again soon.
BEBB presents Let's Get Deeper with your host, Nissy T.